You guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tim,
And I'm Kate.
and we are Altruistic Vision.
Know they tryna knock me down, I ain't going out. As the culture turns, you gotta figure it out. They see you getting it poppin', they gon' try and come around. I be down to go out last and keep a live round. In the blink, get you hit, we gon' get you fired. Call your turn, caught up in the mix. Call your turn, better watch out for that blitz. Call your turn, can't deny that I'm lit. Call your turn, you can't deny that I'm lit.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to As the Culture Turns, featuring me, Kendall, my homegirl Naya. We got some special guests on for you guys tonight. You guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tim,
And I'm Kate.
and we are Altruistic Vision.
Hey, you love to see it. All right, so I'd like to jump right into the questions. Right off the bat, I want to know, what is altruistic vision? Where did you guys come from?
So do you want to answer the question, and then I'll answer where we came from?
No, I think you should kind of take over because Altruistic Vision, you started everything.
All right.
So I
So
think you should give them the story of everything.
Altruistic Vision at this moment is a collective of artists that also contains a band. We are a bunch of solo artists who came together to kind of change the dynamic of how music is seen in Delaware County. Delco doesn't have its very own music scene, and the scene that it does consist of is like 99% cover bands, and they're all bar shows and everything like that. So, my dream was to kind of shift the paradigm of how music is seen and the talent scope, because we're right outside of Philly, and everyone just throws us right in with Philly as soon as you get out of Pennsylvania. But it's like, no, I'm not from Philly. I'm from Delco. In fact, I'm from Chester. So like, it's a whole different city. I'm like, it takes me like 45 minutes to get to Philly. So like, no, I'm not from Philly. Delco also has talent, and that's a specific spot that should be known. So that's kind of what we are. We started in 2019 as like, my first idea was for us to be a label, which is still my end game, is to have a label under Altruistic Vision. And there was like me and like 12 of my friends who were just a bunch of rappers and singers and writers and producers who were like, we're gonna do this, and we had no clue what we were doing. I had just gotten off of tour and was mad as hell because it did not go well. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to struggle and be annoyed musically, I'm going to struggle and be annoyed musically with a bunch of people that I love.
Heard. So how did you, not stumble upon, but how did you pick the name Altruistic Vision? Where did that part come from?
Yeah, that is actually a stumble upon moment. So that was.
Oh, is it?
I forget what movie I was watching, but I was sitting on my couch hanging out with my friend Pat, my friend Zeus, my friend Quentin, and my friend Keith, who were all actual like original members of Altruistic Vision. And this is like months and months and months before I had even like thought of making Altruistic Vision. And we were watching some crazy ass documentary that our friend Rotimi wanted us to watch, and it was about like aliens and all of this stuff. And the one dude just kept saying altruistic funnily. Like, it was really funny. He was like, altruistic. And he was just like, the aliens, they don't care for us because we're not altruistic. And I just, like, that word stuck with me for some reason. And I had never heard that word before. So months later, I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my friend Zeus at Marshall Park in Lansdowne. And I'm like telling him all the things that I want to do. And that was the first word that came to mind when I thought about naming the company, because I learned that altruistic means selfless. And the whole point of Altruistic Vision was a selfless idea to change the scene of music in Delco, not just for me, but for everybody around us. So it was like, what's better, altruistic or selfless? Altruistic rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, selfless vision doesn't roll the same way.
And I'm also, because I'm a writer, I'm huge on words, and I'm huge on words being spells. So like, I don't like self and less together. I don't like saying it, but I have to for the sake of telling the story. So like, but if I can get those two words and not have them together, then I'm going to not have them together.
Heard. So you spearheaded the company side of it, the business side of it. Where did Kate come into the picture? When did you start getting involved, Kate?
I think, I was at a point where me and Tim were friends, and I realized that they had something really great, and they had something that really could be something, but they didn't really have somebody who knew how to manage things, because they all
Hmm.
come from, like, they're rappers, they're poets, they're singers, like they were all creatives, but none of them really had like a managerial background like I do. That's what I do on my 9 to 5 every day. And I've been doing that for, even at that point, I was doing it for 3.5 years. So when I came in, it was kind of like, hey, I really love you, all of you guys. You guys are all amazing. I see the potential that you have, but I don't think it's going to be this smooth, easy ride if it's just you guys trying to figure all of this out. So let me come in, let me help you find gigs, let's make t-shirts, let's, make sure the Instagram is posted on regularly. I kind of took on all of the managerial aspects for
Every
AV.
business aspect.
Yeah, like as well as like we do our own shows, and we have been for over a year. So when I came in, that's when that started coming about, because Tim knew that he wanted to bring a safe space for artists in Delaware County, and why not us provide it if we're a Delaware County collective, and that's what we want to do. Let's find a way to do that. So that's kind of where I came in, is just making sure that everything could go smoothly and they could be artists while somebody else took on the more like heavy responsibilities, like the paperwork and the gigs and all of that stuff.
And she's also our photographer
Okay.
and
So
social media.
as far as like creatively speaking, what are some of the most major like musical influences that you've kind of pulled from to bring it all together?
So me personally, I'm obsessed with music from the 60s to the 80s. So, like, we play a lot of funk because that is what I grew up listening to.
Hmm.
So, when we first started the band, it was mainly like we played some James Brown, we played some Silk Sonic, we played, some Toto, and then we started branching into doing things like Van Halen and Pink Floyd and Bill Withers. So, it's like everyone themselves have their own picks because I try to make it as much as a like democracy as I can when it comes to the band. But my personal influences are like Prince, Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix. Anytime that the band's doing that, it was my pick.
Hmm. Okay, I've heard you guys perform Purple Rain so many times now.
Yeah,
And that's one of my favorites to hear. Even though like I think prior to AV doing it, I don't think I had really like loved the song. And then I was like, okay, this iteration of it is just it hooked me. So what do you think was like the biggest driver for starting a collective instead of just settling as being a band? Why be a whole collective?
Yeah, I think one of the largest reasons why we were like, we're going to be a collective and not just artists, that we necessarily don't want to be a label at this point, because
Hmm.
being a label comes with a lot of things. You're financially responsible for the artist. There's a lot of things that come with more than just being a collective, where we all come together to make things happen. Where that's always a thing that you have to think about when you're starting a business, because we're doing it alone, and having, at that point, right, financially getting shirts, getting merch, trying to do these shows, we were doing all of it alone at first. So that's when we came to a point where we're like, I don't think we want to do it this way right now. We want to be a collective, because we want artists to come in and be a part of Altruistic Vision. We want musicians to come in and be a part of our band, but they are also a part of Altruistic Vision, because collectively they come together and they make music, they make events happen, they make songs happen, they make, like, we did Pride and stuff like that. Like, there's things that, exactly, magic. Like, if you've ever been to an Altruistic Vision event, or if you've ever been to a place that either an artist, one of our artists are, or even the band is, like, we bring such an amazing vibe. And I think that's because we are a collective, and we did transfer into being a collective, because being a collective also means, like, you got to be a family too. Like, we're all very close. We all truly I would say we would consider each other our closest friends, because we do vacations yearly together and stuff like that. So being a collective and transferring into that was more so like, how can we all make stuff happen together and be able to do what we want to achieve? And that's how being a collective came about.
Plus, there's also members within the group that aren't in the band. And then there's members who were in the group that eventually just became part of the band. Like our main vocalist, Juju, started out as the AV stylist for the photo shoots and everything. So like anytime I'm looking fly, it's on Juju because I ain't doing that.
I've noticed you guys do like the color coordinating and stuff. Is that him?
Yeah, that's him. Like
absolutely, I love it.
He'll pick out outfits for us, like accessories, hats, all that. He had me feeling like Anderson .Paak. Like I love when Juju's like, "Yo, Tim, I got you some shit," and then he comes with this like fly ass purple shirt, and I'm like, "Yes."
Okay, I don't want to barrage you guys with questions just on my own. Naya, do you have anything you want to pull up or add?
Yeah. So everything that you guys said, definitely. I actually, if Kendall never told me about the group, I would have never actually known because I don't live in the area. And then when I actually listened to you guys, I was like, oh, they actually, they actually sound great. And when you guys say funk, I love oldies. Like, so when you said like 80s, 60s, 70s, I appreciate that music way more than I appreciate music now. I feel like the music that's being made now doesn't even make sense. I'm gonna be honest. So when I hear you guys, it's like bringing in the soul. And I feel like with older music, it has respect, and you can actually hear what people are saying. You actually know what they're saying. You can actually vibe with the songs versus music today is just like, it's just, I don't even know what direction it's going in. So that you have a preference for certain, genres of music. What do you feel like makes a good song?
Ooh, the song has to move a person. Not just in like a I can't think of the word. So it's music is more than hearing. It's a language that everyone can universally understand, right? So when you're playing a song, you want someone to feel that song. And if you're not putting in the actual blood, sweat, and tears into your music, then people are gonna feel that. Which is why so much music today people don't gravitate towards. Like you have to go to your local shows to be able to see music that's going to make you feel something. Because mainstream music today, everything's just pumped out like it's a car facility and everything's on an assembly line where they're just like vocals, drums, guitar, keys. Here's the flute that everybody's putting on all of their songs. Here's the same drum line that everybody's putting on all of their songs. And then they just push it out. And then these record execs have millions of dollars to just waste on these artists who just want to get famous and don't care about the music that they're creating, which is why so much of it is trash.
That's true.
Kate, is there anything you wanted to add? Oh, go ahead, Naya.
No, I was going to ask Kate that too, but at the same time, I totally agree with him because sometimes someone can be a good artist, but it doesn't draw you in. It's just like, the song was good, but I just wasn't feeling it like that. It was a good song, but I wasn't moved by it. So I understand. But with Kate, what would you like to add?
I don't know if I would necessarily want to add anything, but I would agree where it's like having like some type of like meaning, right? Like I either like you made me feel some type of way. I heard something, I was like, oh shit, that was nice. Like something to make me like pull me in. Because being at open mics all the time, like I see amazing talent that comes to even our own shows. So it's like there's a lot of people who have it, but a lot of them are underground people. They're not streaming on radio. They're not like stuff like that. So it's definitely having a meaning and having passion to be able to be like, this is what I want to do. Because when you have that, you make amazing things.
The radio don't want the real.
So you guys mentioned your open mics. You do those like it's once a month, right?
We haven't done them. We did one last month, didn't we? Yeah. So it has been once a month. For a year and 9 months, 10 months.
Hey, congratulations on passing a year, coming up on 2. So talk about that a little bit. What's like the name of the open mic? When did you guys start that? How does that work?
So it's called the Altruistic Vision Open Mic Showcase. So we do kind of 4 different versions of it. We have a Halloween party that we throw every year where we do a costume contest. We
I
have
know I was robbed last year.
yo, look, he was a pirate formerly known as Prince, bro. Keyword Prince. um, then we have the version where we have the open jam with the band, where the band will do a set and then people can play with the band. Then we have just the straight showcase where we get a bunch of artists and we have like a little open mic section, and then we'll have specific artists that we want to showcase that month or um, for that night specifically. And then we have one where we have our anniversary show, which we've only done once, obviously, because we have the year mark where it's a whole entire band showcase and then some of the highlighted favorites of that year.
Okay, so I think one of the coolest things about AV is that like I feel like I could pull any member of the band onto this show particularly, and while they're representing AV, they have like their own personality. They're not like bound to you guys. They're still their own creatives. And I wanted to talk about like those guys a little bit. So who are some of the people that are currently in the collective that you guys have had on for a while that you want to keep on pushing?
So the person that we've had on the longest is Charisma. She is one of the original members who joined with me, and actually the only one left besides myself.
Hmm.
Which means she's been here for the whole 4 years. Um, After her would be Courage, who is the keyboardist in the band. She's also one of the singers. And our other singer is Leo, who's the third longest that has been in it. After that would be the Good Juju. And then the band just added our bassist, Johnny Danny's. And then we also have his brother on guitar, who's our rhythm guitarist, who is Tommy. Who am I missing?
Amani.
Our saxophonist, Tamani. She's going to kill me.
Amani
All right.
went about a year and a half ago at this point, so she is like right after Leo, before Juju.
So where do you guys see the collective being like in a handful of years? It seems like you're already like competing for like one of the leading musical bodies in the county. What does it look like a couple years from now?
My end goal is to have all of my artists doing whatever they want, um, and just me helping them as much as I can, which is the whole entire goal of how Altruistic Vision started. And was my original idea was to like be a label and me be the head of it and just get all of my artists to doing as much as they can and get them set, which like in hindsight has kind of like a little bit hindered my own personal career, but like I think that it's personally worth it. Just others in the group disagree, not Kate. So like she's just like whatever you think is best sometimes. But I feel like, you know, not to toot my artist's horn,
Nah,
but
toot the horn. This is the spot for it.
AV is filled with some fucking talent. Like
Mhm.
between Charisma and Courage alone, like they're two powerhouses.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
everybody that we have is a monster at what they do. And it's just the fact that like we haven't been seen enough and given like
We've
had
been given
amazing
opportunities.
like we've been given and had amazing opportunities. It's just the right people haven't seen it yet.
Hmm.
And it's like everyone who has seen it is like, oh shit. Like we just played a festival last Saturday called Yacht Stock, which is a festival that's been going on for Delco for like 25 years. And I grew up wanting to play this. Like I've gone to the show when I was younger and seen the show and been like, I'm gonna do this one day. And then just did it last Saturday. And was
So
like,
when
Sorry.
you guys are like when you guys are doing your open mics and stuff, are you using that like in a way to scout for people? How do you go about like bringing new people on?
It's honestly kind of it's not necessarily any like certain procedure, right? So it's not like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, we're hosting these open mics to scout people to bring them in.
the open mics are like mainly just for the people of Delaware County and the surrounding areas who don't have an outlet.
But how we bring people into altruistic vision, just a prime example of Amani. She is our amazing saxophonist. I had went to a few of Amani's events, prior, and I had like seen her events and seen like that. I saw her like at we followed her on Instagram. We had saw her at
A bunch
Newports
of
and
she
News
came to a
open
couple of our
mics.
shows.
She had came to our shows, and I remember one day Tim and her had a conversation, and he was like, "I would love to have you play with us if you're willing to," and she was excited and she wanted to play with us, and she was like, "Yeah, I would love to." So
You're missing a key part of that. That was the first time that I learned that she played saxophone.
mhm.
And
That's
I was like, why
hilarious.
the fuck are you just now telling me this? I play in a band. What do you mean you play saxophone? Like, what the fuck?
I like that because you don't see a lot of bands that pull into more like classical instruments. Like I couldn't name a band off the top of my head that uses a sax player, for example. Naya, you look like you had something you wanted to add.
Not Ed. I have a few questions, but you cut me off earlier, so I'm just like,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm gonna patiently wait because the conversation we were having at first, my question kind of went with it because we were talking about how music make you feel. So I was thinking about if you could move a crowd right now, right, off an emotion. It's two emotions going to give you. Would you rather move the crowd off of they're happy, they're jumping around, and they're so excited about the song, or would you rather see a crowd who's like crying in tears because the song was so beautiful? Like, what would you like? Like, what would you like to see from your audience if you could pick an emotion tonight? If you wanted to play, would you want to see them crying like, "Wow, that touched me. It was so beautiful," and the whole crowd's crying, or just jumping up, dancing in excitement? What would you
I want
like?
everybody crying.
I thought he
Cry-
was going to say that.
Yeah, like, so when I play specific guitar solos like Purple Rain or any of our like jams where I know that it's something soulful, especially blues. Like if I'm playing in a blues scale, my goal is to make myself cry. So it's
Hmm.
like I want you to hear the every ounce of pain that I'm feeling, and then I want you to look at me and be like, "Damn," and then you cry. That's my goal.
That's deep.
So
That's way more. It's way more meaningful and intimate than everybody just like dancing around all happy. Because it's like
Right, because
anybody
you
can
might
do
be
that.
drunk anyway, just having a good time out.
Yeah,
True.
you
I've
can
seen it a
have
few
fun.
times.
Like
Okay, so as far as like when it comes to like moving your audiences and stuff, there are a lot of covers that you guys do. Have you gotten that kind of response from like any of your original music that you guys have put out?
so, one of our main key hitters is Courage's "Keep Grinding."
Fact.
That's
Oh
one
no, it's
that.
playing in my head now.
Oh yeah, you're welcome, bro. That one hits a lot of people. Same with Trust from Charisma.
Hmm.
Um, I be rapping about some dangerous shit. So no, people don't really be like,
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think that one of the songs that people will normally participate in when it comes to Tim, because like you said, he does kind of sometimes rap about, more controversial quote unquote things.
dangerous shit.
Like the government and stuff like that. And some people get spooky and scared when stuff like that gets brought up, but he has this one single called Hustle Hunting, and it's just
Heard.
kind of about
That's
like,
true. The
he
struggle.
when he wrote this song, he was literally sitting on the bus going to work, and his car had just like broken down, and it's just like that whole song is just like real raw Tim, and it's like he's rapping about how pissed off he is, and how he wants to make he just trying to make money, and how he put all of those emotions and made this really passionate song where it's like, I'm just trying to live and get to the next day and put a little money in my pocket, and that's going to be what keeps pushing me to go forward so that I have the big bills in my pocket one day.
I
What?
did not know that's how you felt about that. So thank you.
Right?
No.
That was so beautiful to watch
I'm
you
about
like
to
look
cry.
at her like she knows the fuck out of me. Um, so you have a tour coming up pretty soon. What are the details on that? What's that going to look like for you guys?
That's next week. Yeah, I
And
leave.
by the time this drops, it'll be in like 2 days because this drops next Thursday.
Oh yeah, so it's in Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm leaving in 2 days.
Uh-huh.
I'm leaving on Saturday. The first show is a festival in Atlantic City. We're playing Elephant Talk. Um, I don't know where we're going after that. Like I know, just not in order. Like we're going to Savannah, Georgia. We're going to Whitechapel, North Carolina. We're going to Orlando, Florida. We're going to Brooklyn, New York. We're going to Portland, Maine. We're going to somewhere in New Hampshire, which I'm just excited because I've never been to New Hampshire, and yeah. So I'm excited to go cross country in a car with one of my good friends. Like,
Okay, so it's not going to be the full band for this. It's going to be you and a handful of people.
that's me and Vomit, bro.
Okay.
Me and the taste of Vomit kicking it in an infinity.
I've heard plenty of his music too. He's at every single one of your events, so I definitely want to get him on at some point as well. I'm sure he'd be open to that. So on the talk of discussing like the tour, is there any spot here that you're like the most excited to perform at?
Orlando, because it's at a skate park, and I am a skater boy at heart. I just don't be doing it because I'm old. But if I'm at a skate park, like there's no reason not to. So I'm definitely trying to see if I can rap while skateboarding. Probably not. Probably gonna bust my ass, but like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Viral moment. And then as far as like your past performances, what's like your favorite spot that you've ever performed?
I think as the manager, because I don't play in the band, but I
You
manage the
watch
gigs, and I'm here when they're practicing and stuff like that. I think my most favorite performance that you guys have done was Upper Darby's Pride. I think that was just a really cool moment that you were able to bring all of you guys together in one stage. And we do have a very large band.
Fact.
We have 8 members in our band, so we don't fit in a lot of
Everywhere.
spaces. But to be in a large space like that where you're able to utilize every instrument, it was really cool to see that just as the manager and see your growth, because I know how hard you guys work and practice, and they practice for weeks for that festival. And we were there the year prior as well, so we came back with 5 more people than we had the year
right.
prior.
Yeah.
My
How about you, Tim?
Stock.
It was Yastock?
Yeah, the one we just did. Because we played Pigs by Pink Floyd, Pink Floyd is like my all-time favorite band, and that's one of my top 5 songs of theirs. And the pressure that the song put on the band was immense and amazing. And we didn't crack under the pressure. And I got to play a talk box, which like for anybody who plays guitar wants to play a talk box. Like that, it's so much fun. It sucks kind of, but like it's so much fun. And I just like I had a really bad couple of days before because work sucked because my boss was sucking, and I was just angry. I was so mad. So I was like, I am about to rip this guitar to shreds in the most beautiful way. And that's exactly what happened. And it was by far like my favorite moments of me playing, other than the time that we played Purple Rain at the Grape Room, because that was like the best time that I've ever done that solo outside of my basement. And I was like,
I still think like it's I don't even think it's close for me. I haven't been able to get to a lot of shows lately, but when you did Jonesin for a show, your birthday show, I will never forget that night. That night was super dope.
yeah, I came out of the suit. That shit was lit.
Yeah. So for like that kind of thing, do you plan on doing like birthday shows every year to celebrate? Like how's that gonna look?
Honestly, that was just a one-time thing that I decided to do because I had never done it. And I've always like performed for other people on my birthday. Like I had never had the chance to actually just do it for myself. So I was like, fuck that. It's my birthday. I'm picking all of my favorite artists, making all of them perform, and then I'm performing with them. And it went from just me to me in the band, and then we started doing everything that we did. Like I got to do Van Halen, which was so much fun, making Courage sing Sammy Hagar. Like I was hyped. And then we did Silk Sonic, and I felt fly as shit. So it was a great time. But I don't know if I would do another birthday show, just because I don't necessarily care about my birthday. Like that was just a thing that I had wanted to do just because it was like I had never done it.
I'm sure if like when you turn like 30. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, when I turn 30, I'm going to WrestleMania for my birthday.
I'm dead.
What if you performed at WrestleMania?
Ooh, bro, what if I super kick somebody at WrestleMania? Like,
I mean, look, Bad Bunny has been at WrestleMania before I see Tim Jones being a WrestleMania eventually.
That is my goal. That is my goal. Like, I couldn't get in because I was not good enough at wrestling and my medical history was trash. But I could definitely get famous, and they would definitely let me at least super kick somebody. And that's all I want.
Naya, I know you had a few questions that actually run along the lines of like their future goals and their dreams. So go ahead.
I'm just laughing at him because normally that does happen that way. Like when you look at the WWE and WWF, that when you couldn't become a wrestler, they let celebrities come in and pick up food and chairs and smack you around and stuff. So I just think that was. So, all right. So one of the questions I have for you guys separately, if you guys could pick two artists to play national, world, wherever you want to play at, who would the artists be? Like if you can pick two artists separately, Kate and Tim.
Like me, as in like me play for them, or
like if you were in the band and you actually was playing, if you was an artist.
So I'm gonna play along. If I was in the band, I would probably play the flute because I used to play the flute. So I'm gonna say if I played my little flute, I would seriously, because I love Black, I would love to play for him. I would just be hyped to be in the same room as him. But another person I think that would be really cool is Australian Pink Floyd. They are a really cool Pink Floyd cover band. And they are just really they're amazing. I love them. If you guys like Pink Floyd, I suggest you looking them up because they're really good, and it's just blows me away every single time. So opening up for them will be cool.
Okay. What about you, Tim?
That's a really hard question.
You only got two people. This is only one chance. And if they're gone, you can bring them back.
Oh, that just made that a whole lot easier for him.
Yeah, that just made that so much easier. Prince and James Brown.
Oh, okay.
All right, now I got to keep it difficult. The two living artists that you would want to collab with. Go.
Anderson .Paak and I can't say Anderson .Paak twice. Anderson .Paak and Kendrick Lamar.
Ooh, Kendrick Lamar is a good one. That's a good pick.
I want to write a sick ass fucking beat for Kendrick Lamar to do live, because like he has a band that plays with him live, and I want to be his fucking music director.
Do you have like a dream venue that you guys like have to absolutely play at before you die? Like, is there one of those for you?
MSG, easily.
Heard.
Easily.
All right, I definitely see it happening. Maybe not in 2 years, maybe not 3, but I see it happening regardless. So for the current tour, you said that's just going to be you and Vomit. When is like AV like looking to do like a big tour? When is that happening?
One thing I will say is shout out to the Taste of Vomit, because he has been on tour before by himself, so he already kind of has like a knowledge of how to get that stuff figured out, where I know it's going to be such a stressful thing for me because it's not just 2 people, there's 8 people.
9 including you.
Yeah, there's 9 including myself, and some of us do work 9 to 5s where we don't have a bunch of vacation time and stuff like that. So it's and our bassist and rhythm guitarists, they use literally like every ounce of their vacation time to go see this band called Fish. So like getting them, I'd have to tell them like a year and a half in advance. So I would definitely say it's not coming at least this year, unless it would be a short, weekend tour where we hit Philly, Jersey, and like New York or something like that. I think that is more in the cards for us than something like Vomit and Tim are going on, where they're going away for a whole 12 days.
So I do want to know a little bit more about that as well. Tim, go ahead, and then I'll ask.
I was gonna say, as the guitarist, that shit is going to be hard for all of us to get together for a tour, especially because musically we have a lot of ideas and stuff that we want to start working on, and we don't have an official drummer. Technically, like we've done a little bit of like looking around, but it's kind of hard to get people to audition, especially those who aren't in a trillion other bands. So, right now, once we find a drummer, we're going to start working on getting our original music out, getting band music out, And I feel like after that happens, tour will just kind of
Smoother.
and just work its way out. Because it's like I've been in bands before that I've toured where it's like we didn't get to the tour section until after the albums was recorded and after all the photo shoots and after all the press, like, and it takes months to figure some of this shit out because people don't like to answer emails. Like,
As somebody who helps to organize like events and stuff, believe me, I know. I
and I
feel
can't
you.
say shit because I don't answer emails a lot. Like that's why I have Kate, because my brain doesn't function properly in the way that it needs to, where it's like I'm the creative, so my mind is always in creative mode. Where it's like I need Kate to ground me and be like, look, here's where you're at, and here's where realism is. You got it.
Mhm. So I did want to lean into that pretty hard as well because a lot of people don't get to talk about like the behind the scenes for artistry. What are like some of the biggest challenges that you guys have to overcome logistically, and like how do you manage to pull that off?
I think one of the biggest things, like I was saying earlier, is scheduling. It's when they want to, they have so much stuff that they want to do as a band, right? And it's kind of hard to do all of that when you have gigs every weekend. So there's points of time where, if we see like, okay, y'all want to start getting stuff recorded, y'all want to start doing this, you want to start doing that, we're gonna have to take some time off. So it's really just about correctly scheduling everything, and that's I kind of think that's where it's the hardest, is like knowing, okay, and luckily one of the biggest tips I have for anybody who is running a collective or has multiple people under them is sharing a calendar, because we
Facts.
all have one calendar that we share, like on our phones, obviously, like Google, and we put in like if somebody's away for vacation, if somebody has a work meeting, if somebody will be out of town, if somebody is this, that, and the third.
I can tell you what everybody's doing on April 5th of 2024 right now.
So like we all communicate in that way, and that helps not have as many road bumps, but definitely scheduling, and obviously, like Tim said earlier, people don't answer emails. So to get gigs, you really got to follow up and, keep reaching out. And
Sometimes that's mad annoying.
yeah, sometimes that can be a little challenging.
I think the only disagreements Kate and I have ever had has been about like band stuff. When it comes,
How do you
down.
mean? Like
There's
what kinds of stuff?
I'm very particular on how I like to run things and how I like I don't let people like help me pack the car because of how specific I like everything. And sometimes I go incredibly overboard and she's there to ground me and be like, look, you need to come back to earth because some shit of what you're saying is just not feasible. And either it's just not feasible or it's just I'm gonna say it, she's not saying it, fucking stupid. So like she'll nicely be like, that's not the best idea, Tim. And it's just like we've gotten in disagreements over like songs that the band should do, gigs that we should play, and it's just like after being mad at each other for like 10 minutes, we'll sit down and talk about it and be like, all right, sometimes it takes more than 10 minutes, sometimes it doesn't.
Heard. So you mentioned the collective being a bit more of like a democracy. Do you guys like try to maintain that system when you're deciding what songs to perform at what shows, what songs to practice? Do you go through like a voting system for that?
To an extent, yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a big ass list of songs that we have, and I'll ask for suggestions on what everybody thinks we should add depending on where we're playing at. But I'm usually like I'm the final factor in the deciding of how the order is going to be, what songs we're playing, and how we're doing the songs. Because like every song we play, we have like 3 different versions for. We'll have like a shortened version, the actual version of the song, and then a jam version. And some of the jam versions have different accents that we'll do that'll stray away from the song. So it's like, this Sunday we're playing a show that's like an hour and a half. So it's like, okay, we're gonna do this version, it's gonna be the long version, but this version is gonna be the short version. And it's like I'll ask everybody what they want to do. And sometimes people will just be like, oh, I don't care, like go ahead and pick for me. And sometimes other people are like, no, I want to do this. And it's like if they want to do that and I think that it fits, then I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Like, yeah. And if it doesn't, if I don't think it fits, we'll like sit down, try to come to a compromise. And I feel like I don't like ever really say no.
I
Like,
think there's been a few occasions, but it's probably just things that's like, certain songs don't fit certain locations. You got to be careful when there's going to be kids around and certain stuff like that. So I think that's the only times where you've ever been like, this probably wouldn't work.
yeah, like we don't play a lot of my songs places other than Hustle, Hunting, and Meditate,
Heard.
just because like a lot of them are about like I'm what people would consider like I don't like to consider myself it, but I'm what people would consider a conscious rapper. So it's like, I'm talking about things that I think are important that people should hear. And I have this song called Rocket Ships, which is like purely just about police brutality and how that shit is ridiculous. And at the end of it, like I have this whole little skit where I go on this little rant and I'm like, fuck the government, fuck the police, like all of this shit. And it's like, I cannot do that at a bar in media. I can't do that at a bar in Ridley.
So, do you ever feel like maybe those are the people that need to hear those messages the most?
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's not
But-
that he doesn't want to play them there. It's just like at the end of the day, Tim is an artist, but he's also a businessman and we have a company. Like
Mhm.
we can't put our company in jeopardy because you want to go tell this cop to go fuck himself. Like
Heard.
and there is situations and there is places where I feel like Tim can and if he wanted to he could fully play. Like there's a bar in Ardmore there called The Nail, and they're a super safe place. Like you could perform anything you want there.
I be fucking screaming Rage
Yeah.
Against the Machine songs and then screaming my songs, feeling so at home because it's like nobody cares.
Mhm.
And it's cool because like the demographic outside of what we bring has always been older white people. So it's like
Mhm.
walking into this situation, you get scared. And the first show that we played there, we played Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine. And the fucking owner of the bar came up and started headbanging and was like, next time you guys do that, I'm coming up on stage with you. And I was like, fucking bet.
I
And
love
it was
that.
like, I was terrified. I was terrified of doing that. I was terrified of doing my songs at Yacht Stock because I was like, this demographic is not going to want to hear some little mixed kid rapping. Like they don't give a fuck about that. They're here for their classic rock covers, which is like 90% of what everybody was doing. Like there was only I think 3 original bands on
Mhm.
the set, and
You mean as opposed to like cover bands?
yeah,
A
Okay.
lot of that stock is cover bands. A
Yeah.
lot of them are cover bands.
so it's like I was terrified to sit there and rap, but they loved it and it was well received. So I was like, huh, all right, cool.
And that's a prime example of it. That space was a good space for Tim's type of music because there's not kids there, like, and then if there are kids there, their parents understand that what they're bringing them to, there's going to be cursing in the music and stuff like that. So again, it's just as a company, you always want to think about those things. So that's why your music is not played as often as like Courage, who is a very family friendly artist, and she's a beautiful singer, and she's someone who's a little easier to fit her songs into things where it'll be more received and not a temp, like it's more like accepted, like yes I want to hear more, instead of like now you got me like on my toes, like should I stay or should
She
I?
can belt if she wants to.
Yeah.
When I think it was at the Jonesing for a show that I went to that you guys did like all like heavier rock songs.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
hearing like that side come out of her was like really, really awesome to witness.
I was so
Naya, do you have
happy.
anything you wanted to add before I ask a couple more?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
All right, so now that y'all talking about the atmosphere, right? One of the questions I had for you guys was, do you feel like music, well, of course it does, because you said that certain places you don't want to, sing certain songs or, play certain songs due to the fact that being in media, that it is racist there to me. Not every area, but that is true. Also, the police and if you're just from Delco area, you just know. You just know. You don't even have to say much. We just know. So I know that it's not so much you're not afraid, but like your girlfriend said, like you don't want to, you don't want to steer the crowd wrong, and you also want to be able to continue to have gigs there and continue to be able to play. But what was the question I was going to ask? Darn it. Oh, okay. So do you feel like music actually changes the way that the mind registers? Do you feel like it heals, or do you feel like it destroys? Do you feel like music contradicts sometimes the way people think, or no? Because I know a lot of people say it does. I believe it does. But do you feel like it changed emotions and your mental?
I 1,000% believe that. I'm like a huge, huge person on like music being a language that everyone understands, that hits at a certain frequency that's more than just what they say it is. Like music is literally everywhere. Music is in the sound of your step. Music is in the sound of your brakes. Music is in the sound of that bird that's outside. Like everything has a specific frequency that it rings at, that resonates to every single person. So you can use music as, for weird example, a magic spell that you can either uplift or you can destroy. So I think it has full power on the psyche of humans. And some people use that to a disgusting advantage that makes me want to fight them. Like, because, we have so many artists who reach this high pedestal and then have the power to change the world, but are just out here shitting on us musically. And it's just like, you have the power to make good music and to change the world, but you're not. So like,
Right.
wasting everybody's time.
Right. I totally agree. I definitely want to hear Kate, and I definitely want to come back to expound on what you said, Tim.
I can definitely agree that I think that it can change your mindset. If you're in a room with a bunch of people, prime example, like at an open mic, and somebody sings, a sadder song, that song may make you think about something that makes you upset, and you may get a little down. It'll bring your energy down a little bit, but somebody may come up next and they sing a song that's super hype, and they're like, get up and dance with me, and you're going to probably get up and probably vibe to the song. So
Right.
I'm still wiping off my tears.
I think it can definitely change your mindset, especially when, you're in the room and hearing that music live.
So do you guys feel like if music was created better, more peace, more love, and different things like that, do you feel like the world would be different?
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
How much do you feel like suicide will go down and also crime would increase?
Oh my God. So I'll try to make this as quick as I possibly can. One of my favorite conspiracy theories is what's called the meeting, which happened in supposedly the early 1990s, where a bunch of record executives who actually invested in privately owned prison came to all of the top hip hop artists, record companies, and basically sat them down and was like, here's what you're going to rap about. Here's what we're going to do. Our goal is to send as many people of color as we can to these privatized prisons so that way we can have a work slave force. And like, I'm not saying that's what happened, but if you look at the switch of hip hop from the early 1980s and the early 1990s to what was coming out post 93, there's a huge switch in the demographic. And like, yeah, you can make some cases that the demographic started switching in 91 and 92 and even 88 because you had groups like NWA, but it was like there wasn't a lot of groups like NWA at the time. You had groups like Tribe Called Quest, Brand Nubian, De La Soul, Jungle Brothers, LL Cool J, Run DMC, and like Kool Moe Dee, Big Daddy Kane, all of these people who were like, prime examples of what hip hop should have been. And then you get this shift to where everybody's talking about some gang shit. And what happens? Now everybody's in jail. Then you get the early 2000s. Everybody's continuing that same path because you got groups like G Unit and everybody who was rocking with them. And it's like you have specific imprints within hip hop throughout every single generation from 2000 to now, where you see a rapid decline in my opinion, the intellect of hip hop. Because it's like in 1991, the number one song on the radio after the riots in LA was "Fuck the Police."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After Katrina, the number one song on the radio was fucking "Lollipop."
Mm-hmm.
After George Floyd, nobody was saying anything. It took Lil Baby to come out with something. That was the first rapper to come out and actually say something musically to be like, hey, something's going on, like we gotta change it. And it was what people consider a mumble rapper. Like that's insane to me that artists have all this power and don't follow in the footsteps of the forefathers who taught us the ways. And they just, in my opinion, just completely disrespect and desecrate everything that all of these people have worked for.
Wow. That was definitely deep. So do you feel like that comes from, I guess we know there was a change in the world. Do you feel like technology did that? Like what happened to the music? Do you feel like technology was so accessible that people just start getting lost, honestly? Because I feel like before people took their time creating music, I feel like there was a lot of spare time long ago, but now it's so much to do. You get caught up in social media and everybody wants to be on top. It's like the crab barrel and everyone wants to get to the top. And it's like, now people are just creating music just to satisfy the need of the world.
I'm not going to blame technology specifically, but I am going to blame things like social media and the internet.
Yeah, so that's what I guess I should have said social media, but we wouldn't be able to get on social media without technology. Yeah. So I guess that's why I said that, but I get you.
Because it's like musically, you know, we have things like auto-tune, where it's like people hated the shit out of auto-tune until T-Pain.
I was going to say,
until T-Pain. So it's like, you know, you have each generation of music has somebody who took technology and made it into something greater. Like the 60s and 70s, you have Pink Floyd, the Beatles, Genesis, and Peter Gabriel. Then you have the 80s, you have like Van Halen and all of those guitarists who decided to go crazy. The 90s, you got the synth crazy wave. Like, I feel like with every generation of technology, music has the potential to get better, but because of the dark sides of technology and people's ego, it doesn't.
So who do you think are some of the more influential like musicians today that you think people should be listening to instead of like the problematic stuff? Like if you were to tell somebody like here's 3 rappers that will not inspire you to do dumb shit, like who would you pick or put on that list?
Anderson .Paak is number 1. He says some crazy shit, but he has soul in his music. And that man, like, there's just something different about having a band with a rapper, especially when he's on the drums. Like, it's a whole different feeling because he's putting his actual emotion into the music. It's more than just standing there and sitting there being like, oh yeah, I'm rapping over my track. Like, I feel different when I'm playing with the band compared to when it's just me and a microphone. And I love me and a microphone, but I love me and a guitar and the band behind me. That is like the purest. So Anderson .Paak's music hits for a whole different extent to me because it's like before that they had bands in rap and it was cool stuff, but it wasn't what he was. So Anderson's definitely my number 1. 90% of the music that I listen to that is new nowadays isn't really rap. Like,
well, any artist, man. Because I think I would argue that any and all music, especially if it hits the radio, has major influences on people, right? And the reverse is also true.
Yeah, completely. So if I could work with anybody, I'm working with Anderson .Paak. I'm working with Pharrell because that man is just a musical genius. And like, what Pharrell ever do that was wrong? Nothing. And it's crazy because there's so many people that I want to work with, but I like think about it and I'm like, career wise, I probably wouldn't. Like, I really want to have a song with Snoop Dogg, but it's like at the end of the day, like Snoop Dogg probably don't want a song with me.
I don't know. You never know. You never know. Snoop Dogg is doing every side quest that exists. Maybe y'all will be a main quest one day, and he'll be like, "Damn, all right, I like these guys."
Take some clips off of here. We just all keep tagging Snoop Dogg.
Facts. We're just have everyone tag Snoop.
Yo, remember when he had that song "Sensual Seduction"? I was like, bro, Snoop, I can write you something better than this. Like, I can easily write you the sexiest smooth track you want to get on ever.
Look, I just need Snoop Dogg rapping over a guitar. That's all I need. I need him rapping over a guitar. I definitely do think I don't know how I feel about it. The idea of like having a band legitimizing a rapper. Like I agree with what you said that it adds something, but I feel like it makes it more palatable to the mainstream if you have like a band involved as well. Do you agree with like that kind of idea? Whether or not it's for better or for worse.
I think I can agree. Yeah. Because it's like having the band is an extra oomph that always is going to make everything acceptable. You know what I mean? Like, no
Hmm.
matter where we go, people are excited that we have a guitarist and a bassist and a drummer and a keyboardist and
Yeah.
especially a saxophonist. So it's like, at the end of the day, maybe 30% of the people who are in that room are actually listening to the lyrics and care about what the fuck I'm saying, and the other 70% are just excited that there's a band in the room. And I can't hate on that because nothing is better than live music to me. Like, most of the music that I listen to when me and Kate sit at home and I'm sitting on YouTube is live performances. Like, I'll sit there and put on full concerts and just listen to concerts all day
Hmm.
because the imperfections within the live show is what makes it real. Like,
True.
obviously, I'll go and listen to albums. Like, I have a ridiculous record collection, but hearing the live and hearing, the crack in someone's voice or the slip on the guitar string or being like, oh, I can tell that right there. He just dropped his guitar pick and now has to play with his fingers. Like, there's nothing cooler than some of those musical moments. So it's like, no matter what I do, they're gonna love the band. My rapping just adds to it, makes it like that much cooler.
So I've seen you guys perform live plenty. Of course, I want to see more. But do you guys have plans for dropping like recorded music? Is an album like in the roadmap for y'all? What's that look like?
Can I talk about it? Okay. So we're actually right now taking a break to find a drummer, and then once we
Mhm.
pick our drummer is when we're going into album mode, like
I like it.
instantaneously, basically.
Oh,
Um,
that sounds. We got an exclusive. Hell yeah! Thank you
so
guys.
it's like we find a drummer, we start practicing for a couple weeks, and boom, recording, and then after the recording, however long that takes, boom, album. So
Hmm.
it's like early to mid 2024, I would say, probably at the latest.
Oh, I wasn't expecting a drop date, but I'm a mark that in the calendar.
Well,
Are there any particular songs you're most excited to record?
I'm so hyped to record Anxiety.
Mm,
I'm so hyped to do that. That is one of my favorite songs to play. Um, I'm also really excited to record Flow-Fi
that's
because,
Amani's, right?
yeah, we
Uh,
did, Charisma and I did a remix to it, and we're gonna do like a live band version on the next album, and then like I'm gonna try to talk Amani into letting me get a guitar solo over that because that is one of my favorite songs in life to guitar solo over now. That progression is so beautiful, and I don't know what about it opens up my soul, but I just am a monster on that song every time that we play it. So I'm just like, please, please let me solo.
I'm pretty sure I've caught myself like I like to listen to music when I write poetry, which is what pushes me to think like there's gonna be a point where I try rapping. It's going to happen someday. And I've written over Flow-Fi before, and I was just like, wow, this is like a vibe. Just writing
Yeah,
like
it's
poems
so
over it
smooth.
is fun.
It's so smooth. When I was recording it, I was like so worried because my verse had all these like intricate words because I was about to say I'm stupid. I'm not stupid, but like I like to do tricky shit. And I'm like, I don't know
Mhm.
why I did it like this because the beat is like specifically stationed for me not to flow like this, but I'm gonna try it. And then I did it and I was like, oh wow, oh yeah, let's go. Like
How about you, Kay? Do you have any like favorites that you're looking forward to them recording and like really putting into like come get the album? These are the top 10 songs on it. Do you have any of those?
I hope that they will record our singer Leo's song Skywalker because I love that song. That's an original song that he wrote himself, and then Tim actually once Leo like told him like this like sang it to him, he actually took it and then he based all of the musical parts of that song off of his guitar at the beginning. He did the first thing and then he went off and Courage took over on the keys and Johnny and all of them will make such a amazing addition to that song. But that's definitely one I'm really excited for because I have seen that from the beginning and to hear that finally recorded will be such a awesome moment.
Yeah, that started
Mhm.
on an acoustic guitar in the basement, and then it like the original song. I wrote the guitar piece, I wrote a rhythm guitar piece, I wrote a bass part, and C wrote the keys, and then fixed the bass part because there was like I have the ear, but she has the theory mind.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
it's like she can tell me when I don't have the right specific order of notes or if I'm like playing a scale that's out of key. And it's like sometimes it works because I do weird stuff, but like sometimes it doesn't. So she helped fix the bass part. And then I know that once we get in and actually start recording that Johnny's gonna make it like a million times better because that man is ridiculous on bass. So yeah, I'm excited for that one too. Because
Are any of you like classically trained, like or not classically, like formally trained in music?
Leo is the only one, I think.
Yes, Leo is classically trained. I mean, Tim was in, like jazz band and stuff like that in
But
high
it wasn't
school.
any training. I literally they just handed us music and was like, play this, and we had to figure it out ourselves.
And I know Courage, she comes from she played in church her whole life. So she has been I don't know if she's ever been like classically trained. Leo has literally had like a piano teacher when he was a kid growing up and stuff like that. So he is the most classically. But I definitely think the most experienced musician would be Tim.
I think me and Johnny and Tommy have all played the longest.
Yeah.
Because it's like I started playing music when I was 7, because I took drum lessons for like 3
Hmm.
months, and then my mom didn't like my drum teacher because he said I played weird, and I was like, man, fuck you. But like then after drums, I picked up bass at 13 because my school band made me play the upright bass, and I was like, this is whack. Um, I'm actually really glad that I learned that because it taught me music itself. Like that taught me how to read music. And then I went to jazz band, and that was just chaotic. It was chaos. Like they had lessons, but like we didn't have a guitar teacher. So my guitar teacher was a violin player who knew how to play guitar.
Oh
But like
goodness.
I was better than my teacher. So it's like how are you going to teach me when I'm better than you? And then I skipped junior year because I would always fight with my jazz band teacher, and came back senior year after sitting in my basement for 3 months straight. Like I did not do anything that summer. My girlfriend was so mad at me because I literally spent like 6 hours a day just playing guitar. And then went to jazz band and
Shows.
it was like
I think when I first, like, I knew you guys were good, but when I very first heard like one of your solos, I was like, well, why is it this venue? Like, why is it this tiny place? Like, these guys are incredible. Because you would never guess that you guys aren't like formally trained. But I do want to ask, when are we seeing Kate in the band? When is that happening? When are you gonna jump in with your flute? Because you said it. Now,
whatever.
I have not played the flute in like over probably like 8 years at this point. I stopped playing as a sophomore in high school. So I had played for like, I think I played for 6 years and then I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. So I don't think I would ever join the band. Maybe they can get me a
I've
flute
been
and
asking. I've been
I
asking.
try it, but I don't know if I would necessarily do it. Also, to be honest, they have so many practices and so many other things that I don't think my schedule, like with being able to manage them, would ever actually make it work.
that was actually another thing I wanted to ask. How often do you guys like arrange your practices and stuff?
Um so
Because I
it
can imagine it's not a few.
oh no, it is not. We do like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
If we have shows, like when we have shows, we'll do like 3, 4 times a week, depending. Like I was supposed to have practice tonight, but I didn't. And the vocalists have practice, so they're over having vocalist practice right now. But we practice a ridiculous amount. Like it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Some weeks it's just Monday, Tuesday. Like it depends the intensity. Like we sometimes have what we call hell weeks, where it's like 2 whole weeks straight. We're practicing 4 times a day.
Jeez, that's
Or 4
absolutely
times a week.
wild. Okay. I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean 4 times a day? Because I know there are people who go to the gym like that. They'll be like, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym in the morning, do my cardio, come back, do strength training. You said 4 times a day. I'm like, oh my god. Even if I loved music, I think it would be so hard to pull that off. So what's your like core like drive? Like, what allows you to go so hard at this?
The fact that I hate the music industry
Hmm.
and want to change it. That is like I strive off of all the people who tell me that I couldn't do it, and the fact that I really want to change the world, and they say that it only sometimes takes one person, and I got like 12 with me who want to, so that's pretty good. Pretty good odds right there.
Okay, so I'm pretty much like I've reached the bottom of like what I wanted to ask you guys. If Naya has anything else to add, we'll go through that, then let you spit some bars, and then we'll get out of here.
Well, I actually enjoyed hearing both of you guys talk, and then I definitely see there's a lot of passion because a lot of people are not passionate about what they do. It's like I'm here, I'm doing it, but I'm not passionate. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's a lot of passion. And I feel like that's what's going to keep y'all going. And I believe if people see that, it's like eventually someone will come around because I know sometimes it take a long time. And it's like, you know what? Like you said, you feel like you guys haven't been recognized by the right people. And it takes time. So hopefully, you know, while you're on tour, that, you know, you can connect with a lot of people because y'all have the energy and y'all have the personality where someone would want to work with you guys. Well, I don't know how it is when y'all actually out there. Here, you guys seem like y'all have the personality when it's like, you know what? I wouldn't mind want to work with these guys because they don't seem problematic. And I feel like if you guys keep the same energy and this passion for this band and for music, I feel like that eventually the right person will come along because you don't want it to be a rush process and then a wrong person come along. You get what I'm saying? Because now sometimes people make you distort your gift or, you know, have to compromise to something that you don't want to compromise just based off of money. You know that happens.
That's literally what made me want to start Altruistic Vision because I was in a band that was like, you have to wear this, you have to sound like this, you have to do this, and it sucked. And
It's
I'm
cool to
like,
see you guys do your own dress codes and stuff now too.
yeah.
Because they always look super fly, always.
And that's my main thing. I'm like, wear what y'all want to wear within the parameters. Like, I don't care how it is. Just be you, but here's your colors. Like, it's so degrading to me that these labels sit there and give their artists these stipulations and dynamics and are like, you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way, you have to do it this way, and then wonder why the music's shit. Well, you're hindering your artist from its creative process and not allowing them to truly be themselves. Who's going to be able to write their best music when they're not able to be themselves? Nobody. So it's like these record labels are like, where are the good artists? Like, none of them want to go to you because you suck. You're not doing anything for the artist or the community. You're just trying to make some money. And it's whack to me. Grayson, get out of here, bro.
Like,
You definitely could have brought him on.
Oh, I let the cat get his shine on. He's trying to peek in. Just let him get his.
Say hi.
Let him get
He's
his.
like, I'm part of the band.
This is
He's
Grayson.
like, finally, right? She
This
kept,
Play
like,
the
knocking
triangle.
Get away,
This is
go,
literally
bye,
the
see
band
it. I'm
cat.
like,
He
the
will
cat, the
her.
cat wanted to know what was going on so bad.
So Tim, I don't know if you just want to like run an acapella or however you want to do it.
Just you want to give me a beat, babe? Just
I seen the cat tail go up. Did that mean it's about to attack?
no, he's just
happy.
waving it. He's a happy
He's
little
vibing.
man. So he's
Okay.
a happy little cat. I love him.
Rap about the cat. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Freestyling about Grayson.
I'll just sit here and just acapella.
Yo, we're both cats.
Oh yeah, now we got Piccolo over here too. This is my
I
other cat.
couldn't see because the cat was blended in with your shirt. I couldn't tell. Whoa, now I see.
Okay.
Now there's gonna be another cat that comes out of nowhere.
Probably she's somewhere hiding.
Oh wow.
Ridiculous. I've got nihilistic visions convoluted in my brain, which are consistently protruding upon my daily thought train that encompass in my intellect with inferior waves. So contemplation occurs. I'm wondering if I'm insane. Sit back to extract the facts from these knowledge gems that I attract. Subtract distractions that act to impact on my stacks. Because when I snap, the time lapse happens to crack from vocal cracks in reaction to the track in the form of abstract rap. So I be steamrolling competition, ain't no breaks in this bitch. The realest reputation of what hip hop from 610 is. Highest confidence around, because people can't hold me down, because hearing motherfuckers talk shit, that's my favorite sound.
Shoo. Shoo. All right. Where can we find you guys? Where do we follow? How do we keep up with AV?
Go ahead, Kitty.
You can follow us at Altruistic Vision on Instagram. We are Altruistic Vision on Facebook. We are on TikTok and all of that stuff. But the most active platform that we are on is Facebook and Instagram. You can follow our personal pages. Mine is Kate MCF _, and
I am at DTHE_Tizza TZA. It's like RZA and Jizza, just with a T.
All right, Naya.
You guys can follow me at Naya _Rose. So that's Naya and then Rose _Rose ROZZAYY. And that's on Instagram.
All right, and you can follow me at Afromortis. It's AFROMORTIS. Again, subscribe to the As the Culture Turns YouTube channel. Follow As the Culture Turns on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, probably MySpace. I'm not too sure, but yeah, that's where you can catch all of us. Have a good night. Thank you guys again for coming on.
Thank you so much
for having us.
Better watch out for that blitz. Can't deny that I'm lit. You can't deny that I'm lit.
Can't deny that I'm lit. Gotta ride with your blick. Fuck watching for the option. Be the cops to get you hit. I just right up off the porch. Mama said stay up out the mix. Niggas up when I was broke. They let me down on my dick. They let me down. Now I won't be around now. I fuck this bitch, take her to Pound Town. When I was broke, they used to laugh at me. My dad thought it was a tragedy. His man thought it was sad to see. You smoking knobs like a bag of weed.